wasn't wearing a mask. And I mean, you just kind of have to. I mean, at this point, you've kind of accepted this. Around maybe 75 to maybe 90% of the people don't have masks. Hey everyone, this is, well, whatever I call it. But right now, I am just finally stopped about Ubering so far. So, I'm heading out of Newark, because that's where I chose to do the morning run. Well known for having a very busy morning run. But I figured I might as well get some, well, just to hear myself speak, as far as how you would be, well, after you got to maybe doing Uber during the pandemic, after having worked from around 1 in the morning to around 6:15 approximately. And remember, during this time, I have not at all, well, I just had a drink of water right after I wrapped it up, and I hadn't gone to the bathroom at all. So I went before I headed out there at around 1. So right then I didn't really drink much water the whole ride. So my mouth was a bit dry. I mean, I wasn't really any sort of caffeinated beverage. This including coffee or any energy drink or anything else really. I worked from according to the app, it says I worked at the first one was at 1:26 in the morning, of course, you know. But this is after I had already started heading out to go fill up some gas. That was $17. So I'm gonna put the screen recording I had of my phone of how much I made today, and I think it was around 1:32. I checked earlier. I already did the screen recording earlier than this, and one thing I did notice doing this run, just because I started in Newark doesn't mean I've been to Newark. Now the majority of the trips today were heading to the Penn Station, but that seems to have been about it. The pickups have been pretty long, so when I was working from around 1 to 3:33 before I shut it off, and then a lot of times the pickups were very, very long. At one point, I had to. It was giving me a huge pickup, but it would have taken me 20 minutes to drive, and this is just ridiculous. But that's just the way it's been. So I mean, well, this is how you pretty much feel after you complete approximately a shift. So it's been from around 1 to 6. It really has been a lot of grinding. So around 1:32 divided by 6 hours, you can come up with that. I think I came up with so it was around, when I did the math. So I did it split. I did it when I worked from 1 to like 3, right before the game 4. And for that one, I think it came out to around $30 an hour. Because I know that by the time I finally stopped, I'd be around $60. And then from the morning shift, from around 4:19 to where I actually stopped around 6:19, those 3 hours, those came out to be around $72. So I mean, the morning run always pays. I think the highest I made during the surge was actually around $60 in 1 hour. This is my sort of like, well, Uber log of how much I've been making. I'm gonna try and maybe go every day to get a pretty accurate data. This is this is a Friday. I think it's the 26th. Yes, I started on the 26th of June 2020. And I will try to keep, well, I'm going to try to go out, but I know sometimes you can get very tired or just burnt out from if you go non-stop. I know I did it for about a week, just non-stop, and it really wasn't that much fun at that point, but it was what it was. I mean, I paid off a huge amount of my bills and a big chunk of my debt that I owe. And I actually didn't realize that there was going to be a huge amount of traffic. It's 6:52 right now in the morning. I'm going to try and edit this maybe for, to go up today or something. But or right before I head out, even, because by the time I might get up, it might have just maybe 1 hour, and maybe then I'll make the channel or something. I don't expect to get any views from this. It might just be for my personal log at this point. I mean, I'm treating this as, I mean, I would have the like face record and everything, but usually people do nosy up, and they're saying, oh well, what is he thinking? You know, he's just gonna, what is he gonna post this up? What does he think he's gonna gain from this? You know, they're just gonna start, I mean, just completely just hating on you for essentially just trying to share your thoughts, or maybe just try to give some accurate information about, you know, what you do and maybe how much you make, because it could vary. It's mainly time based, and so that's what people are doing. Because I know this night I had wasn't the busiest actually, but it was it was one of the longer pickup times than usually, where they were a lot more consistently far away than I was, because when I was driving, I know I had to drive around 10 minutes for the first pickup, and the lady, of course, wasn't wearing a mask. And I mean, you just kind of have to, I mean, at this point you've kind of accepted this. I mean, around maybe 75 to maybe 90% of the people don't have masks, and it was mainly when you were newer to people that are actually going to work, or maybe essential workers. They're the ones that are actually having more personal protective equipment, like, you know, the mask, and they would actually be pretty nice about everything. So let's see. Oh, how much gas I used. Okay, so the gas was right in between the half and 3/4 fill, so it's right in the middle of that. I'm gonna be heading out right now. The recording isn't working, so I'm just testing to see if it works. And also I ended up driving around 60 miles. But Friday evening, here we come. Okay, we're still stuck in traffic here, but I don't know what I'm gonna exactly do with all this audio. I doubt anyone wants to hear sort of this small rant at this point, but you never know. So I'm just gonna share my thoughts and see what people, because I know some people really aren't happy when before everything started reopening. Some of them really weren't happy with the how expensive the surge was, well, how big the surge was, resulting in it being expensive for them. But I mean, you made some money, but then again, at certain points, it just wasn't worth it. Even if you made $60 in that 1 hour, that's it. After that 1 hour, that's done. I mean, you really had to know the time. And for me, it was I think it was a Saturday night. Well, technically, Saturday night. It was around 11:30. I was contemplating going out, and I ended up, by the time I actually ended up heading out, it was actually 12:30 in the morning. So from 12:30 to around 1:30, I made around $60 an hour, give or take, and which actually wasn't bad. So I worked a little bit over an hour that time until I was exhausted, because again, I had been awake a lot of times. Just because I'm not going out to do Uber doesn't mean I'm exactly just staying at home doing absolutely nothing or just watching stuff. I mean, I do other things that keep me busy. I learn a few other things there, like some of the other hobbies. Maybe I want to I'm currently learning to use a few other programs that are actually a lot of work to get done. And no matter how much you earn on Uber, you're always going to have to divide it by 2, because that's the amount you're actually going to have to spend. Remember, because from the Uber, you're going to have your gas money. So let's just, for the sake of argument, say normally it's costing right now, let's see, it's costing around $20 for to fill up the tank. And let's say I actually wanted to have made maybe $100 that day. So with just focusing on those two factors alone, I would need Uber to say, well, do $120 worth of rides minus $20 in gas. That means I would have $100 for for what you would think is the amount of money you would get from it. But remember, that money is not taxed yet. You're still gonna have to pay taxes on those. So if you've been keeping track of your miles, Uber does it, and so does Lyft. But remember, you have to pay taxes on those, and that's going to be like another huge chunk, depending on what you falls into. I still haven't done the taxes for this, but it's gonna maybe be another whole quarter, so it ends up almost being half, and that's not even factoring in vehicle depreciation. So depending on how many, because when I used to be doing Uber full time a while back, around 8 hours. I know you could drive for 12, but it's not really worth. Like, this was during prime time mainly, so you could do mainly from, let's see, for Uber the day starts at 4 in the morning and it ends around 9 usually, so that's around a 5-hour shift. But by 8 o'clock everyone's kind of done already, especially in the busy places like Newark. But remember, just because you start in Newark doesn't mean you're going to stay in Newark. There have been times where you started in there, and maybe up until maybe 6 or 7, maybe you've been around with the neighboring like the neighboring towns, like the Oranges and stuff. Maybe you want to go up north. I would really like to record maybe the road or just my face, but I have a dash cam, but the card kind of stays in there, and these sort of like little Uber logs are sort of meant to just be on a daily, like, the same day I've recorded them, it'll come out. So I'll probably do this later tonight after I've slept and stuff, after I've showered, slept, and preparing for Friday evening, because we all know Friday evening is a very good lucrative time to be an Uber driver. So remember, you want to at least divide it by 2 whatever you made in a day, and determine if that was worth your time for driving. So other than the gas, you have to factor in your taxes, and those are the 2 big ones. So if I drove thinking, let's say I drove, and as far as Uber earnings it shows 120. All right, at that point you've only pretty much spent $20 to fill up the tank, so you think, well, I made 100. That's a very easy way to think you're making, well, at least you're getting something, but the taxes are one thing you don't count. Usually the food on the road, so you look for the nearest restroom and stuff. So, and sometimes maybe Dunkin' Donuts. I know Quick Check most of the time never failed me. Probably has the most non-failed parts of me. Just let you use the restroom. And of course you buy one thing or two. Sometimes it's a snack. Sometimes it's something you really don't need. But come on, you need to buy something at that point. So it's a few bucks, maybe $2 to $3. And add that to maybe your gas. So when the gas prices go back to normal, it would, back before this happened, it was around $25 to fill up my tank when I went out the whole day. So sometimes, remember you have to stop by the restrooms multiple times. So those $2 to $3 you can multiply by 2 to get approximately 2 restroom breaks. So that can easily add up to maybe around 5 to 6. For the purpose of it, let's just say it's 5. So 25 and 5, that's 30. So already, if I drove and made 120, I would have to discount 30 just for the fuel and restroom, and but then again I have to take, so that leaves you up at 90, but then from that you got to pay taxes on that, so maybe that leaves you up at 60. But now you have to factor in your insurance, because I did not have a car before Uber. I mean, I had one in the past, and most amount I made in a week was maybe around 900. This is all prime time, because you don't want to be driving around 11 in the morning when there's nothing. Sure, you might get lucky. There might be one trip that's around 30, a 30-minute ride, and you might get lucky and maybe make around 30 minutes. But most of the time, you're just going to be driving around wasting gas, and it just doesn't make any sense to do it. Plus, no surge really. I know surge has really suffered since everything started reopening again. It's coming back, I think, right? No one wants to wear their masks, and even the people that had the antibody, because the virus has mutated so quickly during this during approximately a month, that those people that have the antibodies they're not effective for new mutations that happen after that month. So we're gonna be stuck here for a while. I mean, because no one wants to do, I guess, sometimes the bare minimum. Only essential workers seem to be really getting it, because you really feel it. Everyone else thinks it's a hoax for some reason until they get it, and then I'm sure they're going to be taking conspiracy theories way too seriously. But that's not what it's about. You really just do what you need to do. I mean, come on. I'm gonna get something to eat. I'm getting pretty close. I mean, I'm still maybe a half hour away from where I actually live or park or whatever. But I'll get something to eat. There's gonna be this. I mean, I'm glad I'm past the traffic. I honestly barely even remember the last few minutes of driving right now, or I only remember being stuck when I first hit this traffic. But I'm gonna go check up. I did see a few businesses that were 24 hours a day, and I did see them open around 3 in the morning. So I'm assuming that their 24 hours is back on normal. I haven't really kept up with some of the other stuff, but that's good. And I guess I'll check up on this other business here. While I get something to eat. See if they actually have something, because I know they didn't have anything at this time. But we'll see. For the people that are curious how much you're making, it's clearly not worth it. Uber is definitely not worth it right now. The pay just keeps getting worse and worse. I mean, it was almost worth it if you don't account risk when the right before everything opened again. But remember, if it's only worth it before taking the risk into account, possibly getting sick, then it's not really worth it. I'll add something in post, definitely, and I guess I'll tell you what I did. Maybe if this is at least a little bit entertaining, during this, maybe we want something that's not so depressing, but I'll try and do that.